Discuss the ongoing results of Project Stallion, an investigation into vehicle thefts that began in November of 2022. Through funding provided by the Government of Ontario, Criminal Intelligence Service Ontario supported police services, the Toronto Police Services joint investigation. Behind me, you will see stolen vehicles recovered by police. In Project Stallion, more than 500 vehicles like these have been recovered as part of the investigation. Toronto Police have also charged 119 people and laid 314 charges. Project Stallion is ongoing. As we speak, our dedicated officers are continuing to recover stolen vehicles and identify and hold the people who commit these crimes to account. As we all know, the number of auto thefts taking place in Toronto has increased dramatically over the last several years. In fact, they have more than doubled since 2019, making vehicle thefts a significant issue in Toronto and across the Greater Toronto area. This project, like others that are taking place across the Toronto Police Service, is an example of the actions that the Toronto Police are taking in our communities to tackle this growing problem. As a service, we are committed to the safety and well-being of our residents above all else. Superintendent Tavner will provide more details about this ongoing project. But I want to note that this investigation was strategic, intelligence-led, and an excellent example of how partnerships and collaboration work to address the issues of community safety. The success of this investigation so far is the result of the dedication of our investigators and their countless support staff in 22 and 23 divisions, units across the service, and our partners in law enforcement, including the Canada Border Service Agency and CISO. I want to acknowledge and thank all of them for their incredible work and their commitment to community safety. Now, I'd like to invite Superintendent Tavner up to provide more details about the ongoing efforts in Project Stallion.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for coming out today. As the Chief has said, Project Stallion began in November of 22 and in 22 and 23 divisions to directly address the spike in auto thefts in Toronto's West End. Thanks to the dedicated work on behalf of our officers, Project Stallion has already resulted in the arrest, as you've heard, of 119 individuals and 314 criminal charges being laid. We've also recovered 556 stolen vehicles as of April the 11th, with a combined value of over $27 million. The names of the arrested persons and associated charges will be made available for reference as part of the published news release for you. Vehicle theft and its impact on violent crime is a growing problem in our city and the Greater Toronto area. It can compromise individuals and their personal safety and well-being, as we all know. If your car is stolen out of your driveway, it affects your ability to get to work, to collect your children, run errands, and particularly if you're a victim of carjacking, the trauma from that event can be serious and long-lasting. Toronto Police do not take these crimes lightly, and Project Stallion is proof of that. For the residents of 22 and 23 divisions, I want to assure you that this project is ongoing and this issue will continue to be addressed by our officers in the community. I would like to thank the Ontario government for their funding through Criminal Intelligence Service Ontario, who were able to support the services project. In addition, I would like to thank our policing partners in the Greater Toronto area for the work that they continue to do on a daily basis. Now I would like to invite Inspector Peter Webby to speak on the service's organized crime and investigative support team. Peter?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Superintendent Tabner. The Services Organized Crime Investigative Team, which I will refer to moving forward as OSIS, was launched in June of 2022. It provided a targeted response to emergency crime trends that are associated with organized crime. The spike in auto thefts are not exclusive to the GTA. This is a now provincial, national, and even an international problem. This continues to be a problem because stolen vehicles are sold domestically, internationally, for substantial profit. Organized crime groups have created demand for these vehicles, which at times result in violent crimes. Some of the crimes we've seen are pharmacy robberies and carjackings. The OSIS team has made car theft a priority. We have dedicated a group of investigators who are tasked with addressing this in partnership with local divisions. These investigators are working around the clock in collaboration with partners in policing, other services, government agencies, industry, and our communities. Project Stallion is an example of how intelligence-led and information sharing can help us tackle this growing problem. OSIS will continue to support our local divisions, and collectively, we are committed to putting this to an end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are they part of a criminal organization? Are they all connected? Speak to how they are connected, or individuals that are not.
So there are individuals who are not connected. There are individuals who are participating on their own. But by and large, there are little cells or large cells of individuals who are involved in these thefts and working as organized groups. So these cars, after they're forensically addressed for fingerprinting, DNA, those sorts of things, will go to the authorized police pound. And then from there, if the insurance is not paid out on them, they'll go to the original owner. If the insurance is paid out on them, they'll go to the insurance company. So we have not recovered any vehicles that have been sent abroad. These are all from Canada, from the GTA area.
A number of the vehicles that we see here appear to have been involved in collisions. Some of them have parts pulled out in their inside. Can you speak to whether they're being used in other auto theft and other crimes? We hear about that happening often with the cars that these individuals use when they go about, for example, carjacking or armed theft. Also in the cars, have they removed GPS footage?
So I'll address the last issue first. That occurs in a lot of these thefts where they remove the GPSs and it avoids the tracking that we would normally be able to do of the vehicle or the owner for that matter. A lot of owners place air tags in the vehicles and depending on whether they're found by the criminals, if they're left in the vehicles, that gives us an opportunity to track them down and recover them and make arrests in some cases. As far as the damage to the interior of the cars, that's part of what they sometimes do, ripping out GPSs and doing that sort of thing. So that's why you see that in those cases. Sometimes they actually drill holes through the rear of the vehicle, the side of the vehicle, to enter the vehicle, to get into the vehicle, to use the sophisticated equipment they use to start them. You know, it's an individual thing. Some of them have. Some of them have been used in crimes, as you indicated, and some of them are just poor drivers that get in collisions. So that's a very difficult thing to identify. And when we do discover that we find catalytic converters, unless we can link them to a vehicle, it's very hard to get them back to the rightful owner. So one of the cases that we had where we started an investigation, and it started out with a single car. It led us to a premises that had containers on the premises, and these containers were used to transport cars to the Port of Montreal, and then they were to be shipped outside of the country. So that one car led us to 30 cars from that one investigation in a container operation. So that's some of the things that happened.
All right, big developments there where Project Stallion is concerned. Results being announced by the Toronto Police. Now, Stallion Project is an investigation into auto thefts in the region. The police telling us today that 119 people have been charged, over 300 charges have been laid, and over 500 vehicles have been recovered. And believe it or not, the value of these recovered vehicles amounts to over $27 million.
Right.
This has been a big problem in Toronto, especially since